Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, where we provide world-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and our show today is Coexistence and Sustainability with Pet Psychic Amina. And today we're going to be talking about whales. What can we do to help save the whale? So joining me is the star of our show. Her name is Pet Psychic Amina. She's in California in the good old US of A. Let's welcome her to the program. Hello there. How are you?
I'm great. Look at this weather we've got behind us.
I know, it's
and
fabulous.
It's about the same at my place.
Well, it's actually a little dismal here today, but there's always sunshine in my heart, as I know there is in yours. And by the way, the burning question of the day is, what does a pet psychic have to do with coexistence and sustainability? So you are a public speaker, you are a trainer, you are an advocate for all creatures having a space and a place in this world. Tell us a little bit about why you're passionate about saving the planet.
I think the nutshell of this topic will be because I've been asked to, because God made me this way. I have loved all the little bugs and all the little birds and all the other animals I can get my hands on or read about. I read a lot when I was young, and I have been blessed with the opportunity throughout my life to actually work with some extraordinary animals and or be around some extraordinary animals. A place I worked for years had medical research chimpanzees. Well, what do you do after you make these chimpanzees sick or missing something? They come to a sanctuary like the one I worked at. And I've gotten to do this since I was 10 years old. I'm not 10 anymore, if anybody's guessing. So I am so pleased to be able to help everybody maybe look at something not just outside the box, maybe there isn't a box. And that's what we're going to make it fun and make it educational. Love to see your questions anytime.
Thank you so much. I want you to know that I have grown and evolved, as I've mentioned many times since I've met you. And I went into the garage yesterday, opened the door, and an iguana came running in, shaking its tail and walking sideways. Yeah. And ordinarily in the past, I probably would have been screaming and yelling and freaking out. But instead, I calmly stood there and I said, would you please leave? I don't think you're going to like it in the garage. I'm going to leave the door open. Please leave. So I never saw it leave, but it's not in there. I don't know where it is, but I just wanted to let you know that I did not freak out because I thought it has a place. It's just not in this garage.
And look at the learning in this one picture. And you and I both know we've learned so much from each other, just doing all of this great work and sharing everything that comes up. But I appreciate is that your vulnerability is you've been really, really open about you really hated this and it was really scary that, and watching both our responses to that. It's like, that's the first step. Can there be a change? Yes, if you're open to it. But you have to first say, maybe I need to leave the garage door open today.
That's very true. That's very true. And that's what I did. So today we're going to be talking about whales. And the only thing I know about whales is whale watching from when I've been in different places in the world where they had whale watching. And it seems to be an entertainment people enjoy. But the whales actually serve a purpose and they're quite large in size. What can you tell us about whales in general?
In general, it is they're magnificent. They're absolutely magnificent. It is such an important part of the ecosystem wherever they are at, be it up in Alaska or down in some more warmer waters, wherever they are. Humanity almost wiped whales off the planet completely. And they eat the grasses in the water, believe it or not, under all of that water, salt or fresh. There are plants growing for all the species that live there. So just think somebody came into your backyard and said, I don't like that bug. I'm going to kill them all. And I'm thinking, you might not do that. And you can find historical records today of areas that have become like deserts, because you need the combination of not only an animal who feeds off the grasses and keeps them mowed down and keeps them small enough for the water and other little things and animals to thrive, but it's also their feces. That's not maybe a fun topic, but it's really important because these animals aren't eating Twinkies and Coca-Cola and ding dongs and whatever else, a million pieces of pizza. They're eating from the world they live in. So their digestion of all of this, and then as they defecate out, there's the fertilizer. We didn't have to go down to one of the hardware stores and get it. A lot of us have learned a lot that you've got to feed the soil. Can't feed the soil if you remove the reason why there is something that will feed the soil. And it's in water, it's out of water, it's in the deserts, it's everywhere. Every single thing you see has a circle of life and how it touches other animals, bugs, whatever it is. And this is us all getting there together. And we're really living our choices right now with how much heat is everywhere, how we're losing the rains. So it's not too late. I want to be the cheerleader and say it's not too late. Make a change, even if it's one change. Let's say you always just throw your trash away. How about recycling? Are you recycling anything or some? A lot of cities now have trash cans that are just for like cardboard and paper. And I don't know about you, Dr. JACALYN. I bet you have even more mail than we get. It's always tons of paper. And we recycle it all. We've got to start there. It's small and easy, and hopefully you'll get into a habit of it. But just like people who chew gum and put it under a picnic table or something, that gum's going to be there forever, because gum specifically has a ton of preservation and chemicals in it that it's not going to go anywhere for years.
Thank you so much. You bring up so many great points. I actually was out walking the other day and somebody was smoking. I'm so not used to being around cigarettes, and they just took the cigarette and just threw it.
Yeah.
I thought, really? I mean,
and it'll be there in 6 days, 6 weeks, and 9 days.
But if you think about all the forest fires and the wildfires, and so
are
all
made by just that.
One person to just throw something. So
Yep.
Anyway, I want to move on to the ocean and ocean life, as whales are living in the oceans. And in many cases, the oceans are polluted. You were talking about recycling, and I read a number of things that a lot of trash is put on barges and sent out to sea to other countries. And so, of course, whales and other creatures are living there. How does trash infect or affect the ecosystem of the oceans and the animals living there?
The short story will be, it's about the quality of the water. So if you have just dumped anybody who's had a bath at some point in their life, and you see all those bubbles and all the soap, hopefully you washed your hair and all that is going down the drain. Have any of us stopped to think, where does the drain go? Where is, do we have a septic tank? Is it going straight into the ground? This is what's happening to wildlife. There is no filter. There's not a pipeline taking all that garbage. There's probably a pipeline for oil, and all that type of stuff, because we're taking that out of the waters and the locations that have that. Every time there's an oil spill, thousands and thousands of animals die, because you've taken a substance that's in the earth but not meant to be outside of the earth. So you have to really think about that. If you're going to go fishing, I don't care if it's salt water or regular water, just any of that kind of stuff, up a stream, down a stream, and you decide to flick your cigarette and it's like, oh, it'll be fine, it'll biodegrade. No, the tobacco is not a tobacco leaf anymore. It's all wrapped up in other things. It's all covered with something that either tastes good. For cigarettes now, you can get them all flavors, and you're tossing them out. And I guarantee you, if you come back in a week, that cigarette butt is going to be there, unless an animal took it away to see if it fits in as their door. We've got to understand that just because you can just drop your trash or you can ... fill in that space, doesn't mean you should. So I know that there's quite a few of us that have little baggies in our pockets, in our purse or whatever, so we can, because I'm going to pick it up. I get chewed out all the time by my family, and they're like, stop doing that. I said, well, I'm not using my hands again. I wait and wash my hands later. If it's really, wet or dewy or something, I've actually gone out to the creekside and I find a whole cup, one you got with fast food. And for me, I'm like, okay, that's really tragic. Move on. I now have a cup to put all the other trash I'm going to probably pick up on my walk. Choices. There's tons of little bags you can hook to your waist. Just think, if every one of us who just go walking around the neighborhood or walking in the forest, whatever you're getting out and moving around, if we all had even just a Ziploc bag and we all picked up one piece of trash that you didn't cause, hopefully you're not throwing it on and then giving yourself credit. Can you imagine how cleanly that we'd be moving toward such a different, clean environment, and the animals would not be in danger? Let me give you a perfect example of just like what we're talking about. This one, you're walking around and you see things. Have you ever, Dr. JACALYN, have you ever seen the Coke can plastics that, hold a 6-pack together or hold a 4-pack together? You know what I'm talking about?
Sure. Yes.
The little rings. It kills. It is one of the top 5 that kill wildlife, because they get into it and they're looking at it and they don't have a concept that it doesn't break apart like the weeds and the sticks and where they live. And it's gruesome to watch, because usually what happens is they get really scared and they can't get it back off. They can't stretch it out. They can't, they don't have anybody to eat it. And they literally, I've seen this, and sorry to be this graphic, but their head literally swells all the way around while it's choking them. And then eventually, of course, they die. Horrible. It's like when somebody takes your breath away, when the oxygen is no longer there. From what I understand, science and luckily I haven't had to ask an animal about it, it is a gruesome death because it's slow and they are not able to breathe anymore. And then they go.
It's absolutely horrible. I've actually seen it myself, where a bird got its neck stuck inside, which is just...
And it's horrible. Just what you said. I want to really emphasize, it is gruesome. This is not, a scary vampire story thing. No, this is a real life. And you're watching them, because some of us, you're trying to catch them and you're circling all around and saying, wait, don't run. I'm trying to catch you. I've done it with a dog. I've done it with a bird. Cats. Oh gosh, they really go at you because they don't understand what's happening. But you can also go on the internet. This is a really fabulous thing. And what we do now, let's go do a positive. You can do a Google search on whatever you want. And you can do on the things I'm talking about now. And then you can find the good stories where somebody went in there and the animal's terrified. So they got their jacket or some kind of towel and wrapped them up. And then little by little cut the whatever it is. It's from the Coke cans or from a string somebody left out. Just think you're up flying a kite. Great time. You're out with friends, out with kids, and you're all doing kite flying. Well, they have how many strings and tails on those kites? They do fall off at some point. At some point, your kite is going to need repair, but that doesn't mean we can catch it always. I really want people to try to think about, okay, do I have a bag to put this in? I want to make sure I don't leave anything behind, string, God forbid, rubber bands, or any of these types of things that they can get around their body. And just imagine a little rubber band on a little bitty squirrel, and he loses all the use of their legs because that has become, a tourniquet. And if you don't know what a tourniquet is, it's something that we would use in years gone by. When somebody got a bleed and they had a cut or something like that, you would put it on there. And a tourniquet technically it blocks any more blood, but also any more feeling. So you can't leave it on very long. You got to get them all bandaged up. This is what these animals are going through. It is 1 million types of tourniquet. In Coke cans, the plastic rings that puts the six-pack together, that's a real huge, huge problem in the entire world because they're all around, but some get loose. You're dropped on the ground. The trash man didn't see it, whatever that is. But hopefully you'll think twice about just throwing gum wrappers or something on the ground. Oh, they'll biodegrade. No, not really. There's so many things that are going to stay intact, and who runs into them and tries to eat it and chokes to death? That's what we don't want.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've addressed this before, but I think it needs to be presented again, is the dog waste. People believe that it's going to biodegrade, and lo and behold, it does not, friends. So tell us a little bit about that.
And unless you have taken a class that I didn't see, dog feces and what they eat is totally different. Everybody's like, oh, but I'm feeding them all organic stuff. And that's great if that's what you can do and want to do for your pet. But the problem still is feces, people or animal or whatever, don't necessarily biodegrade. And what we're talking about is domesticated pets. So you got a cat. I can't tell you how many people have a cat. It's like, okay, go potty and come back. Oh, it's just a little bitty potty. It's no big deal. It's a big deal because it changes the pH in the soil. It changes the biodegradableness. There's a long list, but the idea is, well, who picks it up? Well, nobody. If you are talking about a herbivore, so just eat vegetables, there's not a lot of call for vegetable poop that I'm aware of. Now, canines and the ones that eat meat, everybody thinks it's different. It's a different digestion, but remember, somebody already digested it, and the feces are the after part. It's not the good part. It doesn't have the minerals and all of the good parts that the person or the animal who got it to eat it first. So please remember, if you've decided to have a pet, dog, cat, whatever you walk, I've seen lots of people doing different things, then also know, just carry a bag with you. First of all, you can get them on whole ropes and reels and just rip one off when you go out. Or like me, I save old bread bags. They're perfect. You can put your hand in, keep your hand covered, pick up the waste, pull it over, tie it off, put a bread tie on it, whatever it is. You don't have to spend a lot of money. And I wonder, I would love to see this scientifically out there. We'd have to get a lot of people to sign up for it. How much is, oh, I just don't want to because it'll be biodegradable, or I don't want to because it's dirty and gross, or I'd love to get, Dr. Dell, get a science thing down and you have like a channel of 3 choices. What do you think about this? But let's leave everybody with, if you're feeding pet food, I don't care if it's steak off your table or dog food that comes in a bag, everything, animals don't have wild food. It's very, very uncommon, because then you're taking more out of the whole circle. But when animals and people were eating from the soil, I will bet you there weren't a lot of potty questions or don't do this here. And it biodegrades pretty good, in a good pace, especially you get the rain involved. Dog food, cat food, and anything you buy at the store is processed. It's the same thing. There was a test I know when I was in college that you take a Twinkie, everybody knows what those are, right? The little yellow cakes, and you put them out on a hot fence or whatever you want to do that's outdoors. Hopefully nobody gets to it, no animals or kids. And then we dated it, time and dated about its digression. So how long did it take in a normal summer, whatever springtime heat? And you know what we found out, Dr. Jacalyn?
Nothing
They don't
happened.
biodegrade at all.
No.
They get kind of gross looking and all the, funny stuff inside is kind of oozing out, but it's still there. So that's a lot of animals. The birds will walk by and say, hey, I wonder what that is. Hey, I want to, the lizards are falling into them, maybe into all the sweet stuff. It's bad for the nature. And if you think your gum wrapper doesn't matter, it does. It does. Even one. I get in a lot of trouble when I go for walks and hikes with my family because I've been picking up trash for forever. And I always seem to forget a bag. So I end up washing my jacket because I fill it with in the pocket, in one of my pockets. I usually have something on that I'm in. I have pockets. It's really that simple. And if you don't like touching it, I'm all for you, because you should clean your hands when you come home anyway. But you can buy gloves. And the dollar store is this miracle, wonderful store, keeps their prices way down. And hopefully that inspires you next time you're out there to say, okay, I can do this. I can help. I can be a part of the solution and not part of the problem. Because if you do nothing, sorry guys, you're still part of the problem. We need to have action.
Amen to that, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Something else I'd like us to address, because you referenced this. If you do see an animal struggling, we were talking about the plastic getting around a bird's neck or whatever. You mentioned that a person could put something over the animal's eyes. What's the appropriate way to help an injured animal?
First and foremost, see if there's any way that you can, not to scare them too much, because they're already in a great deal of pain and just fear. And just so everybody knows, animals who are afraid are the same as people. We're our most dangerous. If you really think of that, we're all at our most dangerous. There's no logic. We're not seeing how it fits in a puzzle. We're not smiling and saying, oh, it'll just go away. No, fear is a really, really, really strong emotion, and it can get lethal for just about everybody. So don't beat yourself up if you're afraid of everything. If you're able to, you're wearing a jacket, or even some of the guys, they will offer their shirts or have a shirt, and you can throw that over the animal where they can breathe. They can't see is what we're trying to keep them calm. Because if you can't see a carnivore, which is us, coming for you, then you're going to really, really, really put up a fight. And what the last thing you want is to have to go get a shot because you got bit by an unknown animal of health. And that's usually what happens there. Just take off you can take off a sock, you can take off a jacket, a hat, any of those things. And if you have to, if you need to, and it's in your area, call Fish and Wildlife. That's where it's going to go. Or they are at least going to have resources on who is doing the work and who's doing any of that kind of stuff. What I hope nobody hears is, oh no, we don't have anything to do with those, and just leaves you hanging. So keep calling if you need to. Call City Hall, your municipalities, and all the people. A lot of times, depending on the police department, they have resources that they know about. But you can start with calling your mayor's office, or you talk to a petting zoo, or anything you can get a second opinion that might have those pieces of information, and you can get those animals to the care they need so that they can get back in the wild without a rubber band around their neck or their toes or feet. Because if they get, what happens with this wrap, if you get a rubber band specifically, I'm talking about how tight they get, that part of your finger and everything will fall off. It does not grow back. So wildlife, that makes them the next prey for the higher ups. So if you're a bunny and you break your toe and it bleeds all over, all the carnivores can smell it. So you live without a toe? Sure. But can you go through the healing process alive? That's the game. If you're compromised, how do you possibly run away? It's a lot slower. So think about that. Don't feed wildlife. If at all possible, if you are in a drought and your area is really, really hurting, and that means animals are also suffering, talk to your local animal rescue or somebody who's in the business, even if you have a zoo or something like that, get their input and say, how do I help? Do I put a water dish out? Do I do this? Do I do that? Do I put it in a plant? There's so much we can do to help everybody, first of all, not get bitten, but also to be around wildlife safely without getting them killed because you just thought, oh, it'll be really cute and I'll give them all this Gatorade. No, Gatorade has too many chemicals in it for an animal. Then maybe for some people, great for an athlete. Always look into it. There's always another. I'm one voice, and there's hundreds of us doing this work, trying to share for free anything we can to get these animals through a great life. Because I'll tell you, when we lose them all, life won't be nearly as great as it is today.
So well said. Thank you very much. And I just want to let our audience know we did start a little bit late today. We apologize for that. And so we're now at the end of our show, which has gone by so quickly. Pet Psychic Amina, we look forward to seeing you next Friday. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you, and who's a good client for you?
I'm going to leave that up to that person. But as you see, I have a very large breadth of experience and education. So I meet you where you are. If you're struggling with your pets that live with you or the ones outside with you, I have not only a degree in most of all of this, but I also lived it. I actually had a horse that nobody would take, so I took him on, who was allergic to alfalfa. If you know anything about horses, that's pretty much most their meal. So I've got a great deal of real life experience that I can help you through some creative ways. If that's you, give me a call. My email's even better. bridgingworlds.us is my website, and you can get more of our videos that we've been doing for this free information, and let me help. End of life is one of my specialties, so I have dealt with that with people who have passed or are on that transition, and animals themselves. So I can help you through quite a few really life-changing, but I want you to come out on the other end being healthy and maybe looking for that next pet. It's up to you and us to figure out, wait a minute, am I ready for a new pet? Or maybe I got the wrong pet, because cats aren't for everybody, dogs aren't for everybody, and everything else. So just let me know. bridgingworlds.us. All my details are there, and all these shows you'll get to see there on YouTube and there.
Thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate it. It's always good to see you, and I hope you have a beautiful weekend.
Absolutely.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. We are closing out our week, and we are super excited to have you with us. Just a couple of very quick announcements. If you haven't subscribed to our channels, please do. We will be at 100,000 subscribers. Fingers crossed, toes crossed, eyes crossed. Not really. We're at 46,183 as of today. That was earlier. So please just go to YouTube and click subscribe. We have a second channel, which is Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, which we really weren't working on, but now are. And so we have a completely different audience on this channel, which is mostly women. and this channel, which is mostly men. Very interesting. So please subscribe to our second channel as well. There are all the announcements I have for today. If you'd like to be a guest on any of our shows, please do go over to our website, which is usaglobaltv.com. And also, I'll share one more thing with you. We have a brand new show starting with Maggie, the substitute teacher. Woo! And you can find more about Maggie over on Maggie's YouTube channel. And we'll be featuring Maggie. She'll be featuring us. It's food and femininity. How much fun is that? So please go and subscribe to her channel as well. Thank you again. Enjoy your weekend. And we look forward to seeing you tomorrow when we come back with more shows. Bye.